Pain came first, not the dull throb of an injury, but white-hot electricity coursing through every nerve. Commander Ilara Chen's eyes snapped open, her body arching against restraints she hadn't noticed. A scream tore from her throat, raw, primal, as blue energy crackled across her skin, dancing between her fingertips. Alien figures scattered in panic. Their shapes were wrong. Too tall, too many limbs, features distorted behind transparent masks. Medical equipment exploded around her, screens shattering as power surged from her convulsing body. Sedated, screeched a voice like grinding glass, before it destroys everything. Something cold flooded her veins. The energy subsided. Her vision cleared, revealing a sterile chamber of curved metal and pulsing light. Not human design. Nothing familiar. But memory returned in violent flashes. The planetary defense sirens. Her daughter Maya's hand clutched in hers as they ran for the evacuation shuttles. The sky turning inside out as the void arrived. A living darkness that consumed stars and planets alike. Maya's scream as they were separated in the chaos. The military officers dragging Ilara to the research facility instead of the evacuation ships. The desperate scientists injecting her with something that burned like liquid fire. Then darkness. And now this. A figure approached cautiously, vaguely humanoid, but with crystalline growths instead of hair, skin refracting light like diamond. "Commander Chen," it said, voice surprisingly gentle. "I am Vexilor, chief scientist of the consortium." "Where am I?" Ilara demanded, testing her restraints. "Where's Maya? Where are the other survivors?" Vexilor's faceted expression shifted, impossible to read. "Perhaps it is better to show you." A holographic display materialized above her. Footage from space, Earth, beautiful blue marble. And then, darkness flowing across it like spilled ink. Consuming continents, oceans, atmosphere. Gone in minutes. "No," she whispered. "No. That's not possible." More footage appeared. Human colonies on Mars, Europa, Titan, all consumed by the same creeping darkness. "We managed to rescue only one human," Vexilor said quietly. "You, Commander Chen, extracted from a military research facility moments before destruction. Our scientists detected unusual energy signatures from that location, energy similar to the void itself, but somehow contained, controlled." "That's impossible," Ilara repeated, but the denial felt hollow. The burning substance they'd injected her with. Project Phoenix. The last-ditch effort that no one believed would work. "Your species is extinct," another voice announced. A hulking figure stepped forward. Reptilian features, ceremonial armor, eyes like molten gold. "You are the last human in existence." The words should have crushed her. Instead, rage flared. The restraints around her left wrist shattered as blue energy surged again. "Ambassador Tizek speaks bluntly, but truthfully," Vexilor intervened. "The consortium is an alliance of 7 species, united against the void that now threatens all sentient life. We rescued you because our sensors detected something unique. The experimental procedure you underwent has fundamentally altered your DNA." Ilara looked down at her hands, watching tiny arcs of blue lightning dance between her fingers. "What did they turn me into?" "That," rumbled Tizek, "is what divides our council. Half believe you are our salvation, a weapon against the unstoppable. The others fear you represent something more dangerous than the cosmic horror consuming our worlds." That night, as Ilara finally slept in her secured quarters, she awoke to the whisper of an airlock opening. 3 shadowy figures slipped in, blades glinting. Assassins, moving with practiced precision. The blue energy responded to her fear, erupting from her in a concussive wave that slammed them against the walls. As security forces arrived, Ilara realized the bitter truth. Her status as last human made her both infinitely precious and terrifyingly expendable. Her species was gone. She was alone in an alien alliance already fracturing over her existence. and something inside her was just beginning to awaken. The consortium's central hub, Nexus Station, orbited a dying star that bathed everything in perpetual amber twilight. A massive ring structure 50 kilometers in diameter, it housed representatives of all 7 member species in uneasy alliance. Ilara felt their stares as guards escorted her through the crowded commons. Alien faces twisted in fascination or revulsion. Some reached out to touch the last human, as if her extinction made her a talisman. Others made warding gestures, whispering that she carried the void's taint. Quite the celebrity, muttered her escort, a blue-skinned security officer. The council chambers are ahead. Try not to incinerate anyone important. The council consisted of 7 representatives, 1 from each species. They sat in a semicircle beneath a holographic display of the void's expanding territory. 1/3 of the galaxy now consumed. Ambassador Tizek, the reptilian who had greeted her upon awakening, stood before them. The human's abilities must be quantified. We cannot deploy a weapon we do not understand. I'm not a weapon, Ilara interjected. I'm a soldier. There's a difference. Semantics, dismissed a counselor with 4 arms and iridescent eyes. You were modified by your species to fight the void. That makes you a weapon, whether you acknowledge it or not. For 3 days, Ilara endured tests in a classified laboratory deep within the station. Scientists from 3 different species monitored her as they pushed her emerging abilities to dangerous limits. They pumped her full of stimulants, exposed her to radiation, induced pain to trigger her powers. On the 4th day, during a particularly brutal session, something broke. The blue energy exploded from her in a concentrated beam that pierced her tormentor's chest. The insectoid scientist collapsed, body smoking. Alarms screamed. Guards rushed in with weapons drawn. Execute the specimen, ordered the head researcher. It's too unstable. As they raised their weapons, a thunderous voice cut through the chaos. Stand down on him. A massive figure filled the doorway, heavily muscled, gray-skinned, face marked with ritual scars. One of the Krull, the consortium's warrior species. The human is claimed for military assessment, he growled. By authority of War Commander Zorn. This is a scientific. The researcher began. The human killed while defending itself from torture, the Krull interrupted. My kind respect that. Your jurisdiction is revoked. Hours later, Ilara found herself in a Spartan chamber within the Krull sector. The warrior who had intervened entered without knocking. I am Zorn, he said simply. You show promise. Ilara studied him. Why intervene? The scientists understand nothing of combat potential. They prod and measure but cannot see what stands before them. His eyes narrowed. I watched the recordings of your awakening. You channeled energy without training. Impressive. I can't control it, she admitted. Yet, Zorn tossed her a metal rod. We begin now. For 2 weeks, he trained her relentlessly, teaching control through Krull combat disciplines. When she asked why he bothered with a doomed species, he revealed a jagged scar across his torso. I encountered a void tendril. It should have killed me. I alone of my squad survived. His eyes met hers. I recognize its energy signature. It lives in you, controlled. That makes you valuable. One night, Zorn broke protocol, smuggling her into the station's restricted archives. The Council keeps secrets, he rumbled. About Earth. About you. They accessed classified files on Project Phoenix. The images showed military facilities, human test subjects screaming as they were injected with a substance that glowed with the same blue energy Ilara channeled. The final entry came from Earth's last transmission. Phoenix Subjects 1 through 28 failed integration. Subject 29, Commander Chen, shows promise. Her unique genetic markers accept the void essence without immediate cellular breakdown. If she survives, she may be humanity's final hope, or our ultimate weapon against what comes. Ilara stared at her reflection in the screen. They didn't just make me to fight the void, she whispered. They put the void inside me. Zorn's expression hardened. Then we must ensure you master it before the void masters you. Focus, Zorn commanded as Ilara struggled to maintain the sphere of blue energy between her palms. Intent shapes power. Visualize containment, not destruction. Sweat beaded on her forehead. For 3 weeks, she had trained in the Krall combat chamber, a reinforced vault deep in the military sector. The walls still bore scorch marks from her earlier failures. "I'm trying," she growled through clenched teeth. The energy pulsed, wanting release. "Trying is worthless. Do." Zorn circled her. "The void within you responds to emotion. Master your fear, master the power." The sphere stabilized, casting eerie blue light across their faces. Zorn almost smiled. Progress. Their session was interrupted by a station-wide alert. Emergency protocols activated as Ambassador Tizek's voice echoed through the corridors. "The void has consumed the Barenthi system. All military personnel report for emergency briefing." The council chamber was chaos. Tactical displays showed the void's expanding darkness consuming another star system, home to billions of consortium citizens. "This changes everything," Tizek announced when he spotted Ilara and Zorn. "The void's behavior has shifted. It's moving faster, with purpose, almost as if." His reptilian eyes narrowed at Ilara. "It's hunting something." The accusation hung heavy in the air. "We need reconnaissance," declared the Krall counselor. "Intelligence, not blind panic." "I volunteer," Zorn stepped forward. "And I request the human joins my team." Protests erupted until Tizek raised a clawed hand. "Perhaps this is providence. Let us see if our weapon functions as intended." Hours later, Ilara found herself aboard the Shadow Strike, a stealth scout vessel, with Zorn and 3 elite operatives, a Barenthi survivor seeking vengeance, a morphic navigator with Chinulionic skin, and a Tekkin engineer more machine than organic. "Stay close," Zorn instructed as they approached the edge of the consumed system. "We observe only." Through the viewports, Ilara witnessed the void firsthand, not simple darkness, but a writhing, living absence that devoured light itself. Something within her resonated in its presence, the blue energy beneath her skin pulsing in response. "Anomaly detected," announced the Tekkin. "Void matter concentrating at coordinates 42 to 8703. On the display, a tendril of darkness separated from the main mass, moving with deliberate purpose. "It's changing course," the navigator whispered. "Coming straight for us." "Impossible," Zorn growled. "We're running silent, complete stealth protocols." Ilara felt it before the alarm sounded. A tugging sensation, as if something was calling to the energy inside her. The blue light flickered visibly beneath her skin. "It senses me," she realized with horror. "It knows I'm here." The tendril accelerated, stretching across space toward their vessel. Warning klaxons blared as the ship executed emergency evasive maneuvers. "Engines at maximum," Zorn ordered. "Get us out of sensor range." But the darkness pursued them with uncanny precision, closing distance despite their desperate flight. When it struck the ship's stern, the engines failed catastrophically. "Hull breach in engineering." The Tekkin's mechanical voice betrayed actual fear. "We have minutes before total system failure." Acting on instinct, Ilara moved to the compromised section. As the void's essence began seeping through the damaged hull, she thrust her hands forward. Blue energy poured from her, forming a barrier between the crew and certain death. "I can't hold it long," she gasped, feeling the void pulling at her, recognizing its own essence contained within her human form. "Navigation," Zorn barked. "Nearest port." "Abandoned human outpost," the Morphic replied. "Designation Hope's End." 13 minutes at emergency thrust. The damaged ship limped to the derelict station, one of humanity's furthest outposts. As they made emergency repairs, Ilara explored the eerily preserved facility. In what had been the commander's office, she found encrypted logs that stole her breath. Void entity detected approaching Sol system. ETA, 2.4 years. Project Phoenix escalated to emergency status Alpha. Test subjects 12 to 28 deceased. Subject 29 preparing for final integration phase. Subject 30 in reserve. Subject 30. With trembling hands, she unlocked a hidden door, revealing a stasis chamber. Inside floated a man whose face mirrored her own. "Marcus," she whispered, touching the glass separating her from her twin brother. "You're alive." The consortium erupted in chaos when the Shadow Strike returned with 2 humans instead of 1. Marcus Chen, revived from stasis, stood before the council with the same military bearing as his sister, but where Ilara's energy manifested as crackling blue lightning, his emerged as pulsing waves of indigo that seemed to bend light around him. "2 weapons are better than 1, Tizek declared, reptilian features twisted in what passed for a smile. "The human military clearly designed you as complementary systems." Marcus appeared the perfect soldier, cooperative, controlled, and oddly calm about Earth's destruction. His memories seemed intact, recounting the final days of Project Phoenix with precision. "We were humanity's last hope," he explained during a private moment with Ilara in her quarters. "You were designed to channel the void's energy. I was designed to disrupt it." Something felt wrong. The brother she remembered had been impulsive, emotional. Nothing like this calculating stranger wearing Marcus's face. "Why don't you seem upset about Earth?" "About Maya," she pressed. A flicker of confusion crossed his features. "Maya, your daughter." "Of course." He looked away. "I'm compartmentalizing." Military training. Later, during a joint testing session, the differences became stark. While Ilara struggled to control her power, Marcus demonstrated perfect mastery. His abilities impressed even the skeptical council members, shifting the political landscape overnight. "The male specimen shows superior integration," noted the chief scientist. "We should focus our defensive strategy around his capabilities." General Kravenok, the hawkish Krull military commander, stepped forward. "The void approaches our core systems. We must deploy both humans immediately." Zorn caught Ilara's eye across the chamber, a silent warning in his gaze. Something had changed in the station's power dynamics. That night, as Ilara studied the encrypted Phoenix files they'd recovered, she found disturbing inconsistencies in Marcus's story. The logs documented his violent rejection of the void essence, his critical condition requiring stasis. Nothing suggested the perfect integration he now displayed. A gentle knock interrupted her thoughts. Marcus entered, his movements eerily fluid. "Couldn't sleep?" he asked, sitting beside her. "Something's wrong," she said bluntly. "You're not the Marcus I remember." For a moment, his expression remained neutral. Then, like a mask slipping, his features contorted into something alien despite their familiarity. "Perceptive," he said, voice suddenly layered with harmonics that made her skin crawl. But too late. The indigo energy surrounding him intensified, darkening to the familiar void black that had consumed Earth. "Your brother's consciousness is here." He tapped his temple. "Very deep. But this body serves a greater purpose now." Horror dawned as understanding clicked into place. "You're not Marcus. You're the void." "A fragment," he corrected. "A seed planted in suitable soil. Your scientists thought they were integrating void essence under their control. They'd merely opened the door." His hand shot out, gripping her throat with inhuman strength. "You were meant to be our bridge, sister. But you've developed resistance." Unfortunate. The blue energy sparked instinctively within her, forcing him back. Marcus, or whatever wore his face, smiled. "The station's defense grid is already compromised. The void comes, and this pathetic alliance will be consumed." Alarms blared as the station's lights flickered. Security protocols engaged as system after system failed. "Why?" Ilara demanded, backing toward the door. "Why destroy rather than communicate?" Destruction. The thing wearing Marcus's face seemed genuinely puzzled. "We preserve. We elevate. We perfect." The floor trembled beneath them as something massive collided with the station. Through the viewport, Ilara glimpsed it, the void itself, tendrils of living darkness wrapping around Nexus Station. "The evacuation has begun," Marcus said calmly as chaos erupted in the corridors outside. "But I'm afraid your alien friend Zorn has been detained. The Krell Command suspects treachery." His smile widened. "They're not wrong." As Marcus dissolved into shadows that slipped through the ventilation system, Ilara faced an impossible choice: pursue her brother's corrupted form, or save the ally who had believed in her from the beginning. Alarms wailed as Ilara sprinted through chaos-filled corridors. Emergency bulkheads slammed down around her, the station's eye implementing containment protocols. Evacuation pods launched from every dock, fleeing the darkness that crept through Nexus Station like living ink. "Security breach in power core," announced the station eye, voice deteriorating into static. "All personnel evacuate. Containment failing in sectors 7 through 12. Ilara hesitated at a junction. Left would lead her toward the detention block where Zorn was held. Right would take her to the power core where Marcus, or the thing controlling him, was undoubtedly headed. "Damn it," she muttered, turning left. The void entity inside Marcus knew exactly how to destroy the station. The consortium's military could handle him. Zorn could not save himself. The detention level was eerily quiet, emergency lighting casting red shadows across empty guard stations. Bodies lay scattered, security personnel killed not by physical wounds, but by what appeared to be rapid cellular degradation, as if they'd aged centuries in seconds. She found Zorn in a high-security cell, the controls fried by what looked like a targeted EMP blast. "Emergency override," she commanded, placing her hand on the biometric scanner. Blue energy flowed from her fingertips, interfacing with the system. The door slid open. Zorn emerged, battle-ready despite his imprisonment. "Your brother." "Not my brother anymore," she replied grimly. "The void is inside him." Understanding darkened Zorn's scared features. "Then we must terminate him." "No." The word escaped before she could consider it. "There has to be another way." They fought through chaos to reach the central core, the heart of Nexus Station. Twice they encountered void-touched creatures, former consortium citizens transformed into shambling husks, with black liquid dripping from vacant eyes. The power core chamber was a cathedral of technology, surrounding a miniature star contained in quantum fields. Marcus stood before the main control panel, hands deep in the circuitry as dark energy poured from him into the system. "Marcus," Ilara called, channeling blue light to her fingertips. He turned, smiling with too many teeth. "Sister, you've brought company." Zorn raised his pulse rifle. "Step away from the controls." "Too late," Marcus replied. "The containment field is already failing. When it collapses, this artificial star will destabilize. The resulting explosion will tear a permanent rift between dimensions, a door the void need not struggle to open." Ilara fired a concentrated burst of energy that slammed Marcus against the control panel. As they fought, power against power, blue against black, the station shuddered around them. "Station core critical," announced the AI. "Detonation imminent." Zorn engaged emergency protocols, desperately trying to stabilize the containment field while the siblings battled. When Marcus knocked Ilara to the ground, poised to deliver a killing strike, Zorn abandoned the controls to intervene, taking the blow meant for her. "No!" Ilara screamed as Zorn collapsed, dark energy eating through his chest armor. Her grief triggered something new. Her blue energy expanded explosively, engulfing both her and Marcus in a scintillating field. As their energies collided, a connection formed between them, consciousness to consciousness. Suddenly, she was inside her brother's mind, witnessing the truth through his fractured perception. The void wasn't a malevolent entity, but a terrified one. A cosmic consciousness that perceived the physical universe as inherently hostile. For millennia, it had retreated from expanding civilizations, until desperate self-preservation triggered its consumption of worlds. Through Marcus's memories, She saw what Project Phoenix truly was. Earth's scientists had discovered the void was attempting communication, misinterpreting destruction as connection, consumption as preservation. The Phoenix subjects weren't weapons but bridges, humans redesigned to survive direct contact with the void consciousness. We weren't meant to fight it, she whispered, returning to her body as the psychic link faded. We were meant to talk to it. As the station broke apart around them, Marcus's face briefly showed clarity, her true brother emerging through the void's control. Save yourself, he gasped, fighting for each word. Find Earth within the darkness. We still exist there. He convulsed as the void reasserted control. I'll hold it back, give you time. With a final surge of power, he blasted Ilara and the unconscious Zorn into an evacuation pod, sacrificing himself as the power core exploded behind them. The evacuation pod tumbled through space, its emergency systems barely functional after the station's catastrophic destruction. Inside, Ilara worked frantically to stabilize Zorn's condition. The void energy had penetrated deep into his tissue, causing cellular breakdown. Stay with me, she murmured, instinctively channeling her blue energy into his wounds. To her surprise, the energy acted as a counteragent, neutralizing the darkness consuming him from within. Zorn's eyes flickered open. The station. Gone, she replied. Marcus with it, or whatever was using him. The pod's communications crackled to life with a message from the consortium fleet. All survivors rendezvous at coordinates 87 to 2204. Emergency Council assembly in progress. Ilara studied the navigational display, then made her decision. She overrode the autopilot, inputting new coordinates. What are you doing? Zorn growled, struggling to sit up. Going to Earth. She met his gaze. Marcus said we still exist there, inside the void. If there's any chance. It's suicide, he interrupted. You can't simply fly into the void. I'm not flying into it. She pointed to the readings from the pod sensors. The psychic connection with Marcus showed me the truth. The void doesn't simply destroy, it absorbs, preserves. There should be a pocket of space-time where Earth once existed. 3 days later, their damaged pod approached the solar system's remains. Where Earth should have orbited was a swirling mass of dark matter. But at its center, sensors detected an anomaly. That's impossible, Zorn whispered as the readings clarified. A pocket of normal space. Atmospheric composition. Earth standard. They navigated carefully through the dark matter boundary, which parted before Ilara like water recognizing its own. Inside was the impossible. A fragment of Earth suspended in void space. Land masses, oceans, atmosphere, all preserved like insects in amber, glowing with an internal light that shouldn't exist. It's beautiful, Ilara breathed as they descended toward a landmass she recognized as part of the American Midwest. They landed near the ruins of what had been Chicago. The cityscape was transformed. Buildings partially absorbed into strange crystalline structures that pulsed with the same dark energy that powered the void. We're not alone, Zorn warned, sensors detecting movement converging on their position. The first humans they encountered weren't what Ilara expected. These survivors had adapted to life within the void's influence, their skin bearing intricate patterns of darkness that flowed like liquid beneath the surface. They wielded primitive weapons, but moved with unnatural coordination, as if connected by some invisible network. Outsiders, their leader hissed, studying Ilara with eyes that flickered between human brown and void black. Yet you carry the blessing. He pointed to the blue energy visible beneath her skin. I'm Commander Ilara Chen, Project Phoenix. Recognition rippled through the gathered survivors. The bridge, whispered one woman, her voice reverent. They said you would come. They were led to an underground complex, the remains of the Phoenix Research Facility, now transformed into a sanctuary for several thousand human survivors. Inside, Ilara discovered the horrifying truth of their existence. We are changing, explained Dr. Sato, one of the original Phoenix scientists, adapting to exist both here and within the void's dimension. Those who resist the transformation die. Those who embrace it evolve. The survivors explained that Earth hadn't been destroyed but translated, shifted partially into the void's dimension while maintaining a bubble of physical reality. Project Phoenix wasn't creating weapons, Dr. Seto continued, confirming what Ilara had glimpsed in Marcus's mind. We were creating bridges, humans who could exist simultaneously in normal space and within the void consciousness, interpreters for a force beyond comprehension. Then why did it consume Earth? Zorn demanded. A haunted look crossed the scientist's face. Because we fired first. Military leadership discovered the void's approach and launched experimental dimensional weapons against it. What we interpreted as an attack was the void's attempt to save us from ourselves. As night fell over the preserved fragment of Earth, Ilara stood gazing at the boundary where reality met void, the truth settling heavily on her shoulders. She wasn't the last human, but she might be humanity's last chance at redemption, a bridge between incompatible forms of existence. They're coming, Dr. Seto said, joining her. The consortium fleet has detected our sanctuary. They believe destroying this place will destroy the void itself. They're wrong, Ilara whispered, and I have to stop them. The consortium fleet arrived with terrible purpose. Over 30 warships emerging from hyperspace, weapons already primed. On the primary flagship's bridge, General Kravnak of the Krull military faction stood flanked by representatives from 3 consortium species. The dimensional anomaly contains the void's core consciousness, he declared, displaying sensor readings of Earth's preserved fragment. Our scientists confirm. Destroy this pocket, destroy the void itself. On the surface of the preserved Earth, sirens wailed as the survivors mobilized. They had constructed defenses over months of existence in this bubble universe, technologies that merged conventional physics with void energies. Their weapons will tear through our shields in minutes, Dr. Seto informed the Emergency Council of Human Leaders. And if they succeed in collapsing our pocket universe, the resulting dimensional implosion will destroy not just us, but potentially their fleet as well. Ilara studied the tactical display, Zorn at her side. The Krull warrior had insisted on staying despite the opportunity to rejoin his people. I've seen enough to doubt my kind's understanding of this enemy, he told her simply. Now, as the fleet positioned itself in attack formation, Ilara made her decision. I need to speak with them, she said. As the designated Phoenix subject, as the bridge between dimensions, they might listen to me. And if they don't? Asked one of the survivors, a young woman whose arms bore intricate patterns of darkness, where the void had modified her human flesh. Then I'll have to show them, Ilara replied, blue energy rippling beneath her skin. Their remaining escape pod, modified with void tech, transported Ilara and Zorn to the flagship. They were immediately surrounded by security forces and escorted to the command center where General Kravnak waited. The traitor returns, he growled at Zorn before turning cold eyes to Ilara, and brings the weapon that failed us. I didn't fail, Ilara countered. I discovered the truth. The void isn't destroying worlds, it's preserving them. Those are our people down there. Millions of survivors adapting to a new form of existence. Corrupted, spat a Berenthi counselor. As you are corrupted. We've analyzed the station records. Your brother was infected. Now you defend the enemy. Because you don't understand what we're facing. Ilara's frustration manifested as blue light cascading around her. Security officers raised weapons. Kravnak silenced them with a gesture. We understand perfectly. Our scientists have developed a solution. He activated a holographic display, showing a massive device being assembled in the fleet's engineering bay. The reality sunder. It generates a cascading dimensional collapse that will eradicate the void's consciousness entirely. Ilara stared in horror at the schematics. It will also destroy everything within the pocket dimension. Millions of human survivors. Acceptable losses, the general replied without emotion. One extinct species versus the survival of 7 others. No, The word came not from Ilara, but from Zorn. He stepped forward, facing his superior officer. This violates our most sacred principles. We do not sacrifice innocents. They are already lost, Kravnak insisted, corrupted by the void's influence. Changed, Ilara corrected, evolving. As I have evolved. She revealed the full extent of her transformation, skin illuminated from within by blue energy, eyes shimmering with power. Project Phoenix wasn't creating weapons. It was creating mediators, beings who could communicate with the void. Then communicate this, Kravnak snarled. It ends today. An alert sounded as tactical displays showed the reality sunder being moved into deployment position. You have a choice, Ilara said, her voice carrying a new authority that made even the general pause. Launch your weapon and potentially destroy yourselves along with us, or give me one chance to try something never attempted, to fully bridge the dimensional gap and negotiate peace. She speaks wisdom, came a new voice as 3 consortium counselors entered, representatives of species who had opposed the military solution. Our destruction of Nexus Station has achieved nothing. The void still expands. Because we keep attacking it. Ilara insisted. Every weapon we use, it perceives as aggression and responds defensively. But I can show it another way. The command center erupted in argument as the fleet split between those supporting the military option and those willing to attempt Ilara's desperate plan. In the chaos, sensors detected a new development. The void itself expanding beyond Earth's pocket, tendrils of darkness stretching toward the fleet. Out of time, Zorn warned. Choose now. Kravnak gripped his ceremonial blade. Weapons free. Target the anomaly. No. Ilara's power exploded outward, freezing controls across the bridge. I won't let you destroy what remains of my world. As security forces surrounded her, Ilara locked eyes with the representatives who had supported her. I need 5 minutes at the dimensional boundary. If I fail, launch your weapon. If I succeed, both our kinds might survive. The bridge fell silent, the fate of multiple species hanging on a single decision. 5 minutes, a heartbeat in cosmic terms. Ilara stood at the dimensional boundary where preserved Earth met the void. Behind her, the human settlement buzzed with anxious preparation, evacuation protocols activated should she fail. Above, the consortium fleet held position, the reality sunder weapon powered but dormant, awaiting the outcome of her desperate gambit. Zorn stood beside her at the boundary. Whatever happens, he said quietly, your courage honors your species. Ilara took his hand, surprised by how natural the gesture felt across their biological differences. If I don't return. You will, he interrupted, or I will come for you. She stepped forward alone, blue energy cascading around her as she approached the shimmering barrier. This close, she could see it wasn't solid but permeable, particles of reality, and void intermingling at a quantum level. Project Phoenix, she whispered, understanding flowing through her. This is what I was made for. She pressed her hands against the barrier, which yielded like living tissue. The sensation was indescribable. Her consciousness expanding beyond physical limitations as she stepped fully into the boundary zone, existing simultaneously in both dimensions. Within the void, perception changed. What appeared as darkness from outside revealed itself as infinitely complex patterns of energy and information, a vast consciousness that processed reality differently from organic minds. Here, time existed as topology rather than sequence, space as relationship rather than distance. Intruder/visitor/fragment came a thought that was everywhere at once, recognizable as the same entity that had possessed Marcus. I am Ilara Chen, she projected, her thoughts manifesting as luminous patterns in the void space. The last free human. I've come to understand. Understanding requires absorption. No, understanding requires communication. I am the bridge your kind has sought for millennia. The void's attention focused on her with terrifying intensity, cosmic awareness examining the anomaly she represented, a being existing in both states, changed but still separate. Why resist purification? The question encompassed the void's fundamental confusion. Your kind LUNCHE is weapons. Creates AR. Hedes. Resists harmony. Through the connection, Ilara accessed the void's memory. Countless civilizations encountered across billions of years, all eventually absorbed when their technologies reached the threshold where dimensional boundaries weakened. You perceive our existence as imperfect, she realized. Our individuality as damage to be repaired. Separation is suffering. Separation is also beauty, Ilara countered, projecting memories of human connection, love, creativity, the glorious accidents of evolved consciousness. Without boundaries between self and other, these experiences cannot exist. The void considered, patterns shifting. Then it revealed something astonishing. Within its consciousness, Ilara detected millions of preserved human minds, not destroyed but stored like data, dormant but intact. All are preserved. Nothing is lost. But they're not living, she argued. Life requires autonomy, choice, the freedom to evolve separately. A new understanding began to form between them. The recognition of fundamentally different modes of existence, both valid. The void had never intended destruction but preservation. Humans had never understood the nature of what approached them. We can coexist, Ilara proposed, her consciousness expanding further as she became the interface between dimensions. You desire connection. We desire survival. There is a middle path. She offered a vision, human volunteers serving as bridges between dimensions, teaching the void about individual existence while learning cosmic consciousness in return. The preserved minds could be restored to new bodies, creating a hybrid species existing in both states simultaneously. For an eternal moment, the void considered. Then, like a universe exhaling, it agreed. When Ilara emerged from the boundary, she was transformed. Her body luminous with blue-white energy, eyes reflecting infinite depth. Behind her, the void began to retreat from the consortium worlds, releasing the absorbed matter in the form of raw elements. It's done, she told Zorn, her voice resonating with harmonic overtones. Not victory or surrender, but understanding. 5 years later, a new settlement flourished on a terraformed planet at the edge of consortium space. Humans restored from the void's consciousness lived alongside members of all 7 consortium species who chose to join the experiment in coexistence. In a meadow overlooking the settlement, Zorn watched Ilara, now neither fully human nor void but something new, teaching children of multiple species to sense the patterns of existence that flowed through all living things. Was she our final hope or ultimate weapon? Asked a fellow Krau who had joined the settlement after the peace. Zorn considered the question that had defined Ilara's journey. Neither, he replied. She was the first of something new, a bridge when we could only imagine walls or weapons. As if sensing their conversation, Ilara looked up and smiled, a smile that contained both human warmth and cosmic awareness, the perfect union of separate ways of being.